What's good, everybody? It's the Cloud with Cap Show. UFC 268. What an amazing card. What amazing fights. Yes, I got several fights wrong, but the fight of the night definitely was Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler. No doubt this was fight of the night, and really, this was a crazy, high-paced war. I mean, we're talking both fighters threw 230 strikes landed combined, dude. That is crazy. That is insane. And my lock pick was Gaethje. He did end up winning this fight, and really, this was a close fight. I would say Michael Chandler. What was crazy about Michael Chandler, the whole pace he was given, Justin was just like it was crazy. In that first round, we could easily say Gaethje lost that first round, even though I think the judges gave him 29-28, something like that. But I really thought Gaethje really got tested, and he got wobbled a couple times. But Gaethje, I do believe he will become champion one day. Michael Chandler's no joke. He's a freak of nature. He's a freak of athlete. I mean, we saw, I think it was in the second or third round, where Michael Chandler was just standing there and letting Gaethje just hit him. That was crazy, dude. I mean, we've seen that a couple fighters done that as well. Max Holloway, but he missed the guy. Like looking away, he dodged the punches. But Michael Chandler was standing there looking at Gaethje like, please hit me. And that was just sheer will. I mean, being able to take hits like that from Gaethje and just walk it off and just continue to fight. Hey, man, I think both these fighters are champions in my book, no doubt about it. And Michael Chandler, dude, it was one of them fights where it's like, dude, like he brought everything he's had. Same thing with Gaethje, and we go back to Gaethje's loss against Khabib. And that was his first time fighting since Khabib. That's been over a year, and really it got right into it. And we saw Gaethje get in that rhythm, him standing and striking. And I think, yes, Gaethje did win, and I think it was barely. I think for Michael Chandler, there's nothing to hang your head on and say, oh, I did this wrong and that. I think really Chandler fought a great fight against Gaethje. I really do. I mean, there's not much else he could have done besides, like, all right, maybe throwing a couple more leg kicks or maybe obviously knock Gaethje out. But I just thought the whole pace of that fight was crazy. Now, I cannot believe that was the first fight of the night. And really, it was with a bang. And that really should have been like a main event type of fight. I mean, the way they were fighting, they were throwing, and they were scrapping, dude. I mean, these cats, man, these UFC cats, they need to deserve respect. And I do think, in a way, they should be paid a little more. Well, I mean, we're talking different athlete sports where they're getting paid millions of dollars. They're not getting hit in the face. They're not getting kicked in the shin, dude. Like, these UFC cats, man, they're the realest of competitors, man. Like, I'm talking, this is like a whole, like, different ballpark when we're kind of, like, saying, boxing to UFC. It's day and night different. And now we're seeing some UFC cats like Usman coming after Canelo, and we saw Canelo with that knockout over in the 11th round over this weekend, same time as the UFC fights. It was great. It was just such a great weekend for the fights. I just think for Usman and Canelo, I do think that's a long shot. I really do. I just think that's crazy. But as far as Gaethje and Chandler, what a fight. Fight of the night, obviously. What a time, man. What a fight. And then I want to definitely get it in the main card. Usman and definitely Colby Covington. What a fight. I mean, obviously, I went with the upset in Covington. I thought he really came out. I just thought, for Colby, I did think he came out a little slower than what I anticipated. Definitely the first couple rounds, he kind of was just filling Usman out, what to do. We saw in the second round Colby get dropped by Usman, and really at that time it was like, oh, everybody's like, oh, he's done, but Colby ended up battling back. Luckily for Colby, that was the end of the second round. Had that been about 4 minutes into the second round, I think Usman definitely would have finished him off. But I will give Colby some credit. I do think he won round 3 and 4. We saw him take Usman down, and a lot of people were like, oh, that's really not a takedown. Well, if the knees and the hands hit the mat, I consider that a takedown, right? I mean, what is the textbook takedown? And there was a couple times where Usman had great takedown defense. There was 100%, but I will count Colby took him down one time. I just think it wasn't enough, and we saw an exchange. I think it was in the 4th round where Colby caught him a couple times, and we saw Usman ended up going backpedaling and get dazed in a way to where it was like, and then we saw Colby go for that takedown and automatically go. I just think, the game plan for both fighters, Colby and Usman, were great. Not to take anything away from Colby. It's just Usman right now, he's 100% the pound-for-pound king. He has 15 wins in a row, second most all-time in UFC history. He's one away from the great Anderson Spider Silva, dude. Hey, he's probably the GOAT. I mean, 16 wins in a row for Anderson Spider Silva, and Usman's 1 win away. So I think for Usman, he's on that verge right now. And I don't blame Usman coming out and saying I want to box Canelo. That what wakes him up every day. What causes fear. I just think for Usman right now, you got everything going for you, 100%. So I wouldn't even be mad if Usman was like, you know what, I want to go for box Canelo. Let's do it. The pound-for-pound king of boxing and the pound-for-pound king of UFC MMA. Why not? If for Dana White, if it makes money, it makes sense. That's what Usman said. So hats off to Usman. I was definitely dumb picking against him. Now, what's next for Colby Covington? Look, he's got a list. He's got Street Masvidal. He could fight Dustin Poirier. I do think they'll fight. I do think Colby will be back to his championship fight at 170. No doubt about it. It's crazy. If Colby was at 155, I do think Colby would run through that division as well. I think Colby, a lot of it is underestimated. I do think his stand-up is underestimated. I mean, we saw some good moments against Usman the second fight as well. I mean, we can say these fighters have fought a lot of rounds together, and we can kind of say, like, hey, Colby's won some rounds on the pound-for-pound king. We can say that. But at the end of the day, Usman find a way to get it done. I just think Colby, man, he's got a list, and I think he'll run through them all. I do believe Colby Covington will be champion one day. Now, if you have to go to Usman again, that third fight again, I don't know if they'll ever do that, but that would be crazy. If they give Usman and Covington his third fight, they definitely deserve, Amanda Nunes in there with so I just think, to Amanda Nunes, I do think she is the GOAT, no doubt about it. She will be fighting at UFC 269, excuse me. That's going to be epic. I'll get into that card. That card's insane, dude. We got Poirier and Charles, the current champion right now. Shout out to Charles Oliveira, man. What a beast. I just think, Amanda Nunes, she's running through the women. She is, dude. I mean, through it all, dude. So it is that's crazy. But Usman, what's next for Usman? I mean, he's got a lot on his plate. He can do that route with Canelo, make more money, or he can stay at 170 and just go through the whole division yet again. It's crazy, man. But hats off to Colby, though. He fought his heart out. Most guys would have been knocked out already. It's definitely in that second round. Colby battled back, dude. He's an animal. He's the dog. And we saw in that third and fourth round and later in the fifth round, like, come on, Usman. And Usman didn't even attempt down. That's what's crazy, dude. I thought he would at least try to take Colby down, but Colby was the one that was trying to take him down. We saw the difference with wrestling. I just think for Usman, he's just continuing to get better. Not to discredit Colby. Colby will be champion one day, but the pound-for-pound king right now, hats off to Kamaru Usman. What a fight. Then we had Rose versus Gong. What a fight. I picked the upset in Gong. Really, she was right there. She was right there. And going in that fifth round, it was tied 2-2. I just thought the game plan for Rose was a little different, right? Was started off really slow, and for Gong, it was just like, don't let her take you down in the fifth. And what's crazy is, like, Gong was really controlling the wrestling in the earlier round, so I thought she'd go back to her forte and immediately try to take Rose down in that fifth. It was vice versa. Rose won with that takedown and won the fight right there in that fifth round. And now, if Rose cannot take her down in that round, I do think Rose would have lost this fight, but I love Rose. Soft-spoken lady, really just high class as well, but when she gets in that octagon, something changes there. She becomes a different animal, and dude, it's crazy, man. She is a goon. She's a gangster. I can't wait to see what's next for Rose. She is the champion right now. And for Gong, it's like, moving forward, yes, there's some things to learn there. And for her, it's probably a different atmosphere. People are booing her. She's probably not getting used to booed over in China, really, though. She's probably beloved there. And coming to America, a lot of people don't like other people. That's just part of it. Just anywhere you go, people won't like you just by what you look like, right? It's crazy to me, but I think she'll be back better than ever, no doubt about it. But for Rose, man, hats off to her, bro. I love her. I definitely should have picked her. I just thought in the back of my mind, I was like, going into this fight, going into the fifth round, it was almost a coin flip right there. It really, I mean, it was right in between. And Rose was the champion. She showed up with the championship takedown right there in the fifth round. Got it done. So, amazing to me. So, shout out to Rose. And then all's wrong with the Frankie Edgar, Marlon Vera. He ended up winning with the third round, a knockout TKO with punches. I'm not really mad about it, about Frankie Edgar. He's been in the UFC since like 2007, dude. So there's nothing to discredit Frankie Edgar, he's a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. And he knows that. I believe he's like 40 now or in his late 30s. I just think for Frankie Edgar, the time has come to where, yes, this is a new generation now. These are a new wave of fighters that are coming in. And I think, his time, he should retire and maybe become like a commentator, somebody like Daniel Cormier, somebody like that. I think Frankie Edgar, he's been in the business for so long. I think Dana White would give him a job. Frankie Edgar, he's a class act as well. He's a champion. So, nothing to take away. Shout out to Vera, though. What a fight. But obviously, definitely the main fight, definitely Usman and Covington. It was great. I did think it wasn't as good as the first fight they fought. I think the second fight they were fighting both smarter, right? The first fight was a little more reckless, and I think later on in the rounds it got a little more reckless in the third and fourth round with Colby landing some good shots on Usman, and we saw Usman get dazed. I think it was towards the end of the third round there, and Colby was really getting back into life. Colby did take that third round, and I believe he took the fourth round as well, and going to that fifth, it could have easily been 2-2, or I would say Usman was up 3-1, because of Usman's knockdown in the second round. But I just think for Colby, man, there's nothing to hang your hat on, dude. Like, you will become a UFC champion. I really, truly believe that. But Usman right now, man, 15-fight win streak. I do think what's next for Usman, he's either going to go to the Canelo or he's going to fight another fight for the championship and win 16 in a row and tie Anderson Silva. He will tie Anderson Silva, and you better believe that Usman, he's over here thinking, I want to at least hit that 17 in a row. If I hit the 17 in a row and pass the great Anderson Silva, he's definitely a first ballot UFC Hall of Famer. No doubt about it, dude. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Usman, love or hate him, he's a first ballot. I think he's a class act. Yes, there was some words said after the fight. I think that's respect right there from Covington and Usman. We saw Covington really get out of line with some of the things he was saying to Usman before the fight. Just some really foul stuff. But at the end of the day, it's part of the business. It's part of selling the fights and the promotions, all that. But I just think for Usman, man, he's just that much ahead right now. He's more athletic, and a lot of people are saying, oh, he's on roids, whatever. They could say that, but at the end of the day, he's the UFC champion right now at 170. Who's going to stop him? You know what I'm saying? And I do believe Colby will be back. But definitely the fight of the weekend was Gaethje and Chandler. What a fight. I mean, UFC 268, it lived up to all the hype. I truly believe that. I think UFC 269 is just going to be that much anticipated as well. But I think overall, UFC 268 is probably the best card all year this year in 2021. We can arguably say that. I mean, yes, the McGregor-Poirier fight was good. It ended bad. But I just think for all the fights, man, all the superstars in this card on 268 was amazing, dude. We're talking Gaethje here. I do believe Gaethje will be champion, dude. He deserves that shot. He told Dana after that, if he doesn't get the championship shot after this fight, if he beat Michael Chandler, which he did, I'm going to riot if I don't. So I think Gaethje deserves it. Well done, Gaethje. He will be champion one day. It's the UFC. It's the Clown with Cam show. Let's go!